Okay, it's day 51, and I thought I would do a 2-year summary with the death of my sidekick researcher here in this hotel, where I've spent the last year doing reporting on site here in Washington, D.C., as well as for the year before that, that I was on the road kind of more online, going around the United States and going on site. I thought it may be a good time to summarize the 2-year journey that we've all been on together, especially with the death of my key researcher here recently in the last couple days. And most of the whole story has centered on Capitol Hill, as I mentioned, and in these two key servers, the DNC server that was hacked by these fancy bears. You're going to find, I believe, in time that this is going to be Steele that we've heard so much about. Christopher Steele's Russians, his Russian hackers were the ones responsible. And then, of course, the Awans being a part of the DCCC. This is more the congressional side, not the presidential server. And this is the Awans. And I think you're going to find that Bruce Orr was the key contact over here. And both of these servers kind of used in a pay-to-play network. The protections here afforded by the Capitol allow you to have what's known as speech and debate privilege, meaning that you can't go in a court and get these servers very easily. And of course, both of these servers have disappeared, as well as a replication server in Chicago. And of course, there's these secure Blackberries that Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and all the folks who negotiated the Iran nuclear deal were using, that I believe the Awans were supplying. And of course, we have at the Awans' home in Virginia all these pieces of equipment. We've got this witness at the home of the Awans saying, hey, all this equipment was being sent here directly. We've got congressional Blackberries at the house. We have hard drives potentially that were the backups of these servers. So that's the key, and it all centers on what were they backing up. And they seem to have this Dropbox, this 123 at mail.house.gov Dropbox. It seemed to be related to nuclear agreements, non-proliferation agreements, 123 agreements, these centrifuges and so forth. And a lot of the characters that have entered our story here, I'm going to say on the Russian server here, which is the DNC server, and then the Pakistani server here, which is the DCCC server, seem to center around this kind of pay-to-play. Russian arms dealing over here with these Club K container systems where missiles are hidden in these container systems. And then more on the small arms and uranium trade here with the Pakistani server potentially. And we don't know the mix between the two, but we can see that a lot of the weapons may have been made in Pakistan. A lot of the centrifuges may have gone through, that technology has gone through Pakistan for perhaps up to over 2 decades. And all of it going back to the original Iran-Contra affair, which was drugs in one direction and guns in the other. And maybe this is just a continuation of that Iran-Contra. A lot of the same people are involved. Maybe it's just a Iran-Contra. So there's the summary over 5 years, and we have people coming into the story now. Oleg Deripaska, who seems to be very involved in moving these centrifuges here from Libya to Iran, moving the yellow cake uranium that needs to be processed from Africa to Iran. Iran seems to be this kind of hub for processing the uranium, both in Syria and in the country of Iran. And it seems like the highly enriched uranium from the old Soviet Union has seemed to be diverted into a lot of other uses potentially as well here on Capitol Hill for pay-to-play, mostly powering the nuclear navies of the world as well as backup power for different militaries around the world. So there's a lot of questions still to be answered. But one thing is for sure, we're hot on the trail of the DNC server, the DCCC server, the backup server in Chicago, and a fourth server as well in Arizona. All of this reporting over a year ago has now been backed up in the indictment that the Deputy Attorney General just made, confirming all this previous reporting that I've put in a lawsuit against the DNC for the hacking of these two servers, saying Imran Awan was a DCCC employee. He was the person that logged into the DNC server because he had the password of W. Wasserman-Shultz, the head of the DNC. And we are still in the middle of this journey, but we've come a long, long way.